The boy's combat suit suddenly turned white. He immediately knew something was wrong. He saw a mutated leech, firmly attached to the back of his hand. You know, on Earth 1,000 years later, this kind of thing is extremely poisonous. Its venom can kill an elephant in 3 minutes. Soon, Ricky's face swelled up like a pig's head. His vision became increasingly blurred. Under his father's guidance, he fumbled to take out the first dose of the antidote, and injected it into his heart. But when he was about to inject the second dose, his hand wouldn't move at all. Thankfully, under his father's guidance, he used the momentum of his falling body to inject the medicine. Looking at his unconscious son, Will seemed calm on the surface, but he was actually extremely worried. Because it was getting dark, the temperature was dropping by 5 degrees per minute, very rapidly. The surrounding plants also began to protect themselves. Thankfully, with Will constantly calling him, Ricky finally woke up from his coma, and reached a nearby geothermal area before it got dark. But when he checked his equipment, he found that 2 of his respirators were broken. The remaining respirators weren't enough for him to reach the cabin, but he was stubborn and still didn't tell his father. Ricky continued along the original planned route. He stopped in front of the waterfall. It was only then that Will knew. Ricky only had 2 breathing fluids left, but he needed at least 3.5 breathing fluids to reach the destination, unless he could accurately jump from the cliff into the waterfall below. In that case, 2 breathing fluids would just be enough for him to get there. But this was extremely dangerous. He would most likely die. Facing such a difficult situation, Will had no choice but to order Ricky to abandon the mission. But when Ricky heard this, he immediately refused. He remembered the past. His sister had also given him the same firm order. No matter what happened, he couldn't come out of the box. Finally, he could only watch helplessly as his sister had an accident. Since then, Ricky had a deep, seated shadow in his heart. This time, he wouldn't make the same mistake again. Amidst Will's calls, he resolutely jumped off the very high cliff. The glider quickly opened up in the sky. Right after that, a gigantic eagle appeared above his head, blocking out the sky. Ricky realized that the eagle had targeted him as prey. He quickly folded up his glider and plunged downward. Just as the eagle was about to catch up with him, he turned and dived into the nearby waterfall. But he underestimated the eagle's hunting skills. When he woke up again, he found himself in the eagle's nest. There were also several baby eagles that had just hatched from their eggs nearby. So, while the eagle was out looking for food, Ricky turned and tried to run away. But then he noticed several tigers were approaching the eagle's nest menacingly. At the critical moment, the returning eagle immediately fought with one of the tigers. But then another tiger rushed into the nest. Ricky was terrified, but the tiger didn't pay attention to him. Instead, it went after the baby eagles. Ricky suddenly felt pity. He didn't care if he was scared or not. He immediately fought with the tiger. Thankfully, the eagle that had finished the fight returned in time, and fought side by side with Ricky. Although the danger had passed, all the baby eagles were dead. Listening to the eagles' mournful cries, Ricky could only leave silently. On the way, he tried to contact his father, but he found that the communicator was broken at some point. From then on, he had to rely on himself.